Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while and I am going to apologize for how long you've had to wait, but first I am going to just show you a little bit of what's going on here. I have this beautiful stone, but I want to make the background very colorful. And then I'm going to resin it. This is just how I'm doing my background this time. You don't have to do it like this. But I'm going to resin this and paint what we're painting together today on top of this colorful background. So if you guys have been on my channel before and seen some of my tutorials over the last year, you've seen me using some metallic watercolors. This is the mini master set from Yuli Watercolors. Gorgeous color shifting metallic watercolor paints. Is so beautiful. I do make these paints myself and sell them in my Etsy shop, but I haven't for the last month, but I will be again. I have all the stuff. I had to wait a little bit to get some supplies, but I'm going to be making some more beautiful watercolor paint and putting it in my Etsy shop over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. And this is basically what I do with it. I just like to make things really colorful, and it looks so beautiful once I put the resin over top. And it just changes, you know, how you do your background sometimes, or adding a little bit of sparkle to your acrylic paint with whatever you're painting as well. Definitely take a look at some of my tutorials to see what I've done with watercolor. So that can give you some ideas. But this is just kind of random, putting different colors in different areas, kind of like a colorful camouflage. Where I'm just kind of using gold and green and purples and maroons, and they all change. It all changes. Now, one problem is that I did not show you how to draw this part. So pause it and sketch on with white paint this little figure. And then you're going to know right away what we're doing, right? You know what this is, right? You probably saw the thumbnail. But this is going to be Casper, the Friendly Ghost. Now, Casper the Friendly Ghost was one of my favorite movies. I love Halloween. I love Halloween movies. And Casper was right up there as one of my favorite movies from 1995. Yeah, really good movie. I think it's Devon Sawa, who was in the Final Destination series of movies, and also Christina Ricci, who is also one of my favorite actresses. She was in the Casper movie. So if you haven't seen it from 1995, definitely watch it. It's super cute. Really good movie. My kids love it. And I thought, you know, let's kick off, now that I'm back, for now, let's kick off Halloween with a ghost, with a cute little boo. So I am just using regular acrylic paint. I have resined this rock once I did my watercolors. So you do whatever you want with the background of your stone, but I always use black for the background. Then I use the watercolors over top. Then I let it dry really, really good. Then I resin it. So then when it's ready to be painted on, I can literally like wipe away any mistakes that I make, or even like lightly scratch away any areas that I didn't like. It's really easy to work on top of resin, but I use white acrylic paint. I put the shape on. What I didn't like, I got rid of. It'll change as we go along, because you'll see his head's going to get bigger and bigger as we go along, because I didn't like the size of his head. And then even my son Jackson's like, Mom, you gotta like make his head bigger. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's what I'm doing wrong here. So I got help from my 8-year-old, and you'll see that later on. You'll see me adjusting as we go. This is a long process. This is a long video. It took me a while to get his face the way I wanted it to. I am using white. There's a couple of coats of white, first of all, and then I'm using little sponge daubers from Martha Stewart, which I can't seem to find anymore, honestly. So I just keep cutting little pieces of sponge and sticking them on with glue onto the little plastic sticks from Martha Stewart. So they're half mine, half Martha's. So basically a couple of coats of white, let it dry really, really good. And now I'm using a color called medium blue, which I'm kind of lightening with some white, as you can see in my paint palette there. I've added a little bit of white to lighten it out, but I'm trying to get like some shading features on his face to try and get his face looking the way I want it to. Just kind of watch what I'm doing and see if you can do it. I don't know how really to explain how I'm doing this. I'm just kind of trying to find shadows and shading to try and find his face. Definitely look up some pictures of Casper. There's like the old time Casper way before this movie, and then there's this Casper, which is from the 95 movie. In the end, he kind of looks like it. Jax told me it looks like Casper, so I was happy. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's a long process and a lot of little sponges. So don't use the same sponge with every color. Use a separate sponge with each color you use, because or else it's just going to make things really messy and frustrating. So that's one of my better tips. Now I did use a dark blue called Indigo Night to get that kind of shadow area going. I'm going to let that dry and we're going to work on that and soften it out with some medium blue and some white a little bit later. So while I'm letting that blue dry, I'm sketching on with a pencil his face and trying to get it to look somewhat like Casper. And then we'll go in with paint and go over top of all of that pencil. But basically just make sure your paint's dry before you start using pencil on it, or it's never going to come off. And take your time. Like, look at how many times I've erased his eye already. It's not going to look like this when I'm done. It's going to change a lot. But just keep erasing and starting again until it is the way that you want it to be. So I'm just going to kind of get the eyes the way I want them to be. And once again, I make mistakes all the time and I have to keep doing it until I feel like, okay, that works. I'm trying to maybe see if I put on his eyebrows, that'll help me get his eyes the way I want them to be. In the end, we're really just making a little ghosty, a little boo. For Halloween, and you work on it and make it the way you want it to be. You don't even have to make it look like Casper. Either way, this is going to look like a little ghost with a colorful, sparkly background who's come out to say hi and ready for Halloween season for sure. It puts me in the mood. I do have a few cute ones that I'm going to be painting with you guys over the next little while. And I was also thinking of starting a Patreon so that I can be a little bit more intimate with you guys and a little more, tell you a little more about my life and what's going on, what has been going on, what's been stopping me from working and painting and being here where I want to be. There's been some stuff going on, and it's taken me over a month to feel good enough to come on here and talk to you guys and paint with you guys, because I don't want to bring anything negative to my channel, to you guys and to anyone who's learning how to paint from me. I don't want it to be a negative experience, so I don't want to explain too much. But I'm sure that anyone who's been following me on Facebook or who's paid any attention at all would know that my kids and I have been going through something really tough, and my husband also going through some really tough stuff right now. And it's been one of the biggest challenges that we've ever had to go through. So it's stopped me from doing what I love, and hopefully I can start coming back a little bit more now. But we'll see. I can't promise anything quite yet, but I'm going to do the best I can. But I just want you to know that I will be letting you guys know if I do have a Patreon where you can pay like a monthly fee, a small fee, but it's kind of like a private group that we're painting together, and I'm talking, and it's more of a intimate setting and more private, and I can probably swear once in a while and not get in trouble. It'll probably be for people that are over the age of 18, so that things can be talked about without anybody being not that shouldn't be hearing about it. You know what I mean? People of age. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated and let you know. I just feel like it's time for me to share a little bit more about myself and get let you guys get to know me. And but anyway, it's optional. It's not something you have to do, and I'll let you know what's going on when it happens. Nothing's happened yet, but yeah, I just thought it would be a good idea. But it would only be like members that are a part of the conversation or a part of the videos. It would just be members that are allowed to be there. Anyway, back to Casper. I am using indigo night and medium blue, and in different areas. As you can see, I've put some on the edge of the nose there, a little bit of shading where the lip is and where the cheeks are. Just using a little bit, and you can go back over it with white. If you've used too much, you can soften it down with a little bit of white and a little bit of medium blue. Sponges are amazing for blending as long as your paint's wet and as long as you're not using the same sponge for every color. And rinse your sponges often. Don't let the paint dry on them because then they're ruined. Just throw them in a bottle of water. I always keep like an old bottle of water with water in it. Just keep it on my desk, and when I'm done using a sponge, I throw the sponge in the bottle of water and put the lid on and shake it up so that the sponge is nice and wet and the paint doesn't dry on it. And then when it's time to go wash them all, I just bring the bottle in and throw some soap in there and hot water and rinse them all out and empty them from the bottle, and they're good to go. Let them dry. But I use a lot of sponges, so I have a lot of sponges, and I can just keep putting them in the bottle and use the next one. If you don't have a lot of sponges, you have to like rinse them out individually and make sure you don't let the paint dry on them. So little tips from me. You've probably heard them before if you've been around for a while, but always good to know. Be careful with your sponges. It could mess up your artwork if you use the same one with every color. It could change the whole look of your thing if you haven't rinsed it properly. Yeah, you can just use little sticks, like little plastic sticks, and put a piece of sponge on it and do the same thing that I'm doing right now with a blending brush for those little areas. And I keep all my Martha Stewart daubers, like the plastic sticks, and I just keep cutting little pieces of sponge and gluing them on with crazy glue so that I always have sponge daubers. I don't know what I'd do without sponges now. Now that I've used them on my work, I don't know what I do without them. Once you learn, once you see the benefit, you won't stop using sponges. Although it does depend. I just don't like paint strokes and stuff. So, especially on Casper, I don't want paint strokes on Casper. So I'm trying to adjust his eyes. He's got like little eyelids and he's got cute little eyebrows. And the shading on his face is literally like all his features are shaded. So you're going to see me shading a little bit more. It's going to change gradually, but just keep working at it until you're comfortable with how it looks. And definitely take a look at pictures of the 95 Casper on like Pinterest or Google Images. That way you can adjust the face and the features and the shading and the size of the head the way you want to. I had a really hard time with his hand that's down on the left side. As you can see, it's kind of weird looking. But his other hand is great. I mean, it's great. He does only have 3 fingers and a thumb. So I did that part right. But now, as you can see, I'm just trying to kind of like fill in and shade with my little blending brush, and my tutorial for my blending brush as well as my fine lining brush, which I'm also using. Those tutorials are both located in the description of this video. So if you want to know how I made those and how I'm using the same ones, I've been using the same ones for ages. They work for what I need them for. They're like little sponges and little fine lining brushes. Definitely one of the best things I did was learn how to cut some of the hairs off of my lining brushes so that it wasn't so big, and I felt like I could do a lot more with it when it was much less bristles in the brush, if that makes sense. So now I have shaped out his mouth. We're going to be using just regular old pink in there on his tongue, but the rest of the inside of his mouth is black. I'm going to be using a couple of different colors for his eyes. A nice cobalt blue, which all paint colors will be listed in the description of the video. If you didn't catch it while I was playing the video, all colors will be listed. So cobalt blue, also cayman blue, and possibly even a lighter blue. I'm not really sure yet. I might use a lighter blue on the eyes. So here's the cayman blue. I'm just getting the shape of the eye. I still don't like this one eye. I'm going to have to reshape it as well. But I'm just kind of testing out the coloring that I want his eyes to be. And I'm using my little sponge brush or my blending brush to blend the cobalt and the cayman blue nicely. Then here's the lighter blue. I'm going to use some Calypso Sky, which is a lighter blue than the cayman blue, because I felt like his eyes weren't light enough in the middle. And like I said, like you're seeing my process. I have to keep trying different things. I've never painted Casper before, so I have to try different things until it looks right. And it still might not look just like him, but we're doing the best we can. And either way, we're going to have a cute little happy ghost who isn't frightening your children or children away from your front porch when they come to see you on Halloween. You're not going to scare anybody because he's too cute. He's like, hi, I'm Casper. He's super cute and super friendly. So I'm doing some more shading in around the side of the head, making sure that everything is how I want it to be. And I'm going to be very careful and outline the eye area. I'm not going to like outline everything in black like I normally do, but just kind of giving that darker blue. I mixed a little bit of the indigo night and the medium blue, and that's the color I got for the eyebrows, as well as how I've outlined the eyes and along the cheek. So it's not black. It's like a dark blue. And see, Jax just told me that his head wasn't big enough. So you can see me like quickly adjusting the size of his head. And it will get bigger, I promise. It's going to get bigger because Jax still felt like I didn't have the head the right size. So I'm going to keep adjusting it. And then I have to like keep working on the blue shaded area because of that, but that's okay. So now I've put the pupils in, and now I feel like there's not enough blue showing, but I wanted his pupils to be that big. So I'm going to make the blue part a little bit bigger like I am right now. And I used a little bit of the Calypso Sky and then the cobalt, and his eyes are looking better. They're not exact. They're not perfect, but we're not here to be perfect. We're just here to have fun and paint something beautiful. So I see the beauty in this. I think he's looking beautiful. I can just see it. He's like, hi everybody. There you go, making the head different again. Jackson was just not satisfied, so I'm listening to him. He's an artist as well, so I had to keep adjusting. Casper has a big brain in there, so he needs a big bobblehead. So the nose area, the basic of the nose area is keeping it white and keeping that shape, but keeping it white. Don't put any shading in there. Just keep it white. I know it's hard for me to explain how to get things to look the way they look. I don't know how to explain that to you guys, so I'm hoping you're seeing what I'm doing and you can learn from it because I'm really not good at, yeah, just keep the nose white. You can see that I'm scratching off as well. You might see it once in a while. I grab a dotting tool and I start scratching off some paint in places. Those scratches won't be noticeable because I'm going to re-resin this, and all the resin like soaks into the little scratches in the first coat of resin. So you're not going to see any of that. I just find that it takes less time for me to scratch off little areas of the paint that's dried instead of like trying to get a Q-tip and some water and try and go around the little fingers. And, you know, it's just easier for me to scrape it off and wipe it off and re-resin afterwards, and you don't even know. So that's why I like working on top of dried resin. It just makes mistakes easier to get rid of and adjustments easier to adjust and fix, and it doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't hurt the background. I don't ever want to ruin the background because I've done that before. I've screwed up on, say, the Casper part and completely ruined the background in the process. So this stops you from being able to ruin the background, and it's easy cleanup if you make any mistakes. So another hint, another tip from me. Thank you. Thank you. I'm here all week. I just also, while I'm working on Casper, I have to say thank you to all of you. I usually do try to say thank you to all of you because you're amazing people. But over the last month and a little bit, I cannot believe the outpouring of love and prayers and kindness and humanity. I'm shocked by it. It's honestly kept me going. Trying not to cry. It's kept me and my kids going. I've read them, your comments, and each and every single one of you, thank you for being there for us. I didn't want to cry. Just know it's a very positive thing that you've done. And collectively, as a group of amazing artists and amazing personalities and people who are all going through different things, different walks of life, and you all reached out to me. And it really helped. So I don't even know how to thank you. So I'm going to keep painting because that's what I keep telling you guys to do. I'm just going to keep painting. That's how I can thank you. So I love you all from the bottom of my heart. My kids love you. And you helped really pull us through one really tough times. So thank you so, so much. No more crying. I'm going to show you some stuff I have at my desk and then show you the finished version. All right, so here's a nice little autumn mandala or mandala. Lots of nice reds and oranges and golds in there. I have these watercolor royal mandalas that I made. Of course, the yin yang. When I am going through stuff, mandalas make me feel better. So you're going to see a couple of sets of mandalas. And it's just because I can just kind of go with the flow with my mood and choose the colors and add the sparkle. And yeah. Oh, here's also some stuff at my desk. I have my little skull. It's a little plant holder for my babies. Any babies that are growing. 'Tis the season. That's just a little smidgen of my area where I paint with you guys. Well, are you ready? Here he is. He looks very happy. I think he's very happy. He's ready for a good time. I think he looks cute. I don't know. What do you think? Does he look like Casper from 95? You let me know in the comments. Also, give me some ideas for some more tutorials throughout the next few months. I'm taking all ideas, so don't hesitate to send me a message. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. over the next little bit today and answer any questions you might have about this, or what I might have done somewhere and I didn't mention it on the video. I definitely don't want to leave you hanging. So I'll try and answer any questions today. Okay? I love you guys. Have an awesome day, and I will see you soon. Keep painting.